Afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Joshua Duggar, and I'm joined here by my friend
Kamla.
And we worked for the last year with FNBO, First National Bank of Omaha, for those of you not maybe familiar, on an application that we developed for them called FNBO Foundations.
So our sponsor is FNBO, First National Bank of Omaha. So First National Bank of Omaha is one of the largest private held banks in the United States, and then the largest bank in Nebraska. So they were founded in 1857. So the FNBO provides personal, business, and commercial mortgage, payment, and then wealth management services across a multi-state regional footprint. So our project is a FNBO Foundation was created to support FNBO's broader mission of a financial well-being by focusing on financial literacy for children, teens, and young adults. So the problem we address in this project is resource to design for example, adults maybe have more of a learning tools for them to learn about finance, but kids don't, or young adults don't, or some people that are coming out of high school don't have those things. So our idea or our project is based on building something that will be tailored to kids, young adults, and also teens. So we solve this problem by accessible, age appropriate, and then integrative. That's why we separate it into three separate categories, which start with like a child, and we have a teen, and we have young adults. So that child may be not familiar with most things, so they might have to start slow. Then teens, then young adult will have to be more technical than adult will be. So that's where we focus on. So our sponsors that we work with mainly are, we work with these four individuals: James, Tyler, Lori, and Corey. So they provide us feedback on how we can build the application tailored to FNBO. So that, and then also we work with our faculty and staff here at the UNL, our coach, and then our project manager is Melanie, and then our tribe lead is Gurvinder, and then also our coach is Matt. So they help us guide us through also making sure that the project follow on with FNBO, why FNBO one, and also why UNL policy allows. So they give us feedback on those things. And then this is our team. Josh is our squad lead and project manager, and then I'm the development manager. And our developers are Robert, Renee, Sanhu, and then Carla. So that's our team.
Okay, so throughout the application development, stepping into this, this is something that we entirely developed from scratch because of a problem and an opportunity the FNBO had identified, which they didn't know how to get people that are non-adults, kids, teens, and young adults, interested in their finances and interested in the FNBO ecosystem. And what we realized pretty quick through our research is most young users lack the financial education and rely strictly on social media. So we've kind of seen it all over, especially in TikTok and YouTube, these finance channels getting more and more popular because we lack the ability to teach these younger audiences about finances. And in an earlier fashion, maybe more typically outside of our current curriculum. So current youth accounts provide limited value and don't build long-term relationships. So I don't know about you guys, but most of my accounts that I had, maybe my first one when I was 14 or 15, I had a basic checkings account and I could see how much money I had, but I didn't really realize the impact of what those dollars in the account meant and what saving could look like, or basic integration of myself into the financial world at that age. And so we created an opportunity to develop a digital ecosystem that builds that trust and that learning capacity at an early age. So how do we do that? FNBO Foundations, it delivers a role-based experience. So Kamlin touched on this very briefly. How we behave when we grow up is very different when we're a child, age 5 to 9, versus a teen, somebody who's maybe 10 to 14, versus a young adult who starts to be somewhere in the high school range. We have different learning capacities and we know fundamentally different things. And so we wanted to approach what a role-based experience might be to give everybody the best experience possible. Now, each user receives a personalized dashboard that we'll see here momentarily that maintains the real core functionality, which is our banking information, and it makes it clear and relevant and age appropriate. And then on top of basic financial tools, we built in a learning hub that's interactive and tailors financial education materials that is specific to every single age. And all of those are reading, videos, quizzes, and game-based modules based off of those ages that make them, the user want to maintain their interactiveness with the app. We did this through daily questions, streaks, progress tracking to really reinforce this idea of continual commitment to learning financial literacy. We also added the ability for parents to control all of this so that when the child, teen, or young adult comes into the ecosystem, they can see what mom or dad wants them to focus on. The parent can also see exactly what their child might be struggling with, as well as their transactions. So taking a look here, what we have here is the first dashboard that a child sees in our ecosystem. So you might be pretty familiar with having a checkings and savings account, but really what we're going to emphasize here is what the learning functionality is. So we have here the Learning Hub. Now, when the child comes in every day, they're going to see a daily question, and we have a bank of questions and answers that's tailored to every specific age. And so what does change mean when you come into a store? Pretty fundamental for us that are adults, but it might not be intuitive for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or whatever age they might be. And then additionally, what we can see here towards the bottom is a learning module that's been highlighted. Now, modules consist of different things entirely in terms of the number of lessons. Some may be shorter, some may be longer. And they can maintain the ability to have any combination of those across the application. And so one entire learning module might have 3 video lessons and maybe a quiz at the end. One might have a short reading survey with a game mixed in. We wanted to really keep it interesting and random in terms of how the user approaches learning, especially that we know at a young age it's hard to capture that attention in short spans. And then what we get at the end is once the user, in this instance, completes a learning module, they'll gain stars and hot streaks that might motivate them to stay within the application and continually come back and progress. Here on the far right, we'll see that we have the actual checking dashboard, and it might look eerily reminiscent of something that you have with your financial institution, but we came up with custom icons to really, again, try to drive home with children being in the ecosystem. Now, we won't touch on teens because it's very familiar to children's entire app experience, but jumping into teens, what we have now is we've switched from having stars and hot streaks to something that we call a financial literacy score. So the financial literacy score is very similar and akin to what a credit score might entail. And it follows the exact same pattern of how all of us earn a credit score. Are you completing your modules on time? Are you behind on modules? Are you, is something dilapidated? Did you miss the opportunity to do a daily question? All of those affect your ability and your financial literacy score. But overall, we've changed the entire experience in terms of the styling to better fit the age of being a teenage user. All of this adds value to FNBO. We create opportunity to build stronger relationships with users, and we develop these key experiences to really interact with children, teens, and young adults.